If you want to stay up to date with the best advice and techniques to run a successful, purpose-driven coaching and consulting business, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. All right, let's get started. This has been an amazing journey. Really talking to so many ladies actually about abundance and what it looks like and about mindset. And what I know is that, when it comes to our mindset and abundance, that's where it all starts. Even before your physical, what you see in person, what you see from a physical form, this is where it all starts. Not just like financial benefit, relationship benefit. When I talk about abundance, I mean the whole gambit. Abundance is not set in limiters. So, if you were thinking abundance was only about financial gain, you're limiting yourself. There's so much more out there. So I love this conversation because it really does allow us to open up all the possibilities so that, number one, we're not limiting ourselves, and number two, that we don't overlook abundance that's already before us, and we can grow from that and build on top of that. So today, I want to welcome you to Abundance 101, developing your personal, financial, and professional abundance for a lifetime. So what we're going to cover today are the 7 key traits of an abundance mindset, and also life of abundance versus life of scarcity, because I want us to be able to unlock the layers, if you will, and shine a light on, well, what's the difference? Like, what am I even talking about? And also I'll share with you how I built a life of abundance for myself and for my loved ones. Because at the end of the day, like you and like me, it's not really about me. It's about the people that I care about. It's about my clients. So just because I might have a life of abundance, it doesn't stop here. I think that there's a saying that we've all heard, to whom much is given, much is expected, or much is required. And that is an abundance conversation, and it's not a negative thing. However, it is about being able to stand in the responsibility of what that means, and to understand that abundance is not limited to one person. It is your birthright. And I'm going to talk about that more, but I'll share with you what that looked like for even me and my loved ones, and why bringing abundance in your workplace and your business really matters. And I want to talk about those things today because, we're all living in the same society and there's a lot going on, and it's just important to be reminded and give some light to why abundance is so critical. All right. So I'm looking forward to you joining me in this journey. And my promise to you is at the end of this training, you'll know how to develop an abundance mindset and start creating a life of abundance for yourself and your loved ones. So I hope you're ready. I hope you have your notes out and you're taking notes and you're taking action around what I'm providing you. But before, let's talk about what is abundance. What exactly is that? We all have our assumptions, things that we presume. So I'm asking you, when we're talking about abundance, I want you to type it in the chat. What is that? What do you think of when you think of abundance? We're going to go deeper, but I want to get some feedback from you. So when you think about abundance, abundance is love is abundant. At the end of the day, living your soul purpose and really being able to stand in your passion, your divine assignment powerfully, and staying connected in that and being able to support humanity in the spirit of abundance with your gifts, with your purpose and all that. That is all love. All of that is love. The journey is a love journey because you're actually embracing all of who you are and what your purpose is in life. And you're being mindful of that, and you're being guided around that to serve others and to free them from some of the problems that you have overcome yourself, or some skills or some traits that come easy for you that you lend to your, fellow man in humanity. And that is all from a place of love. And so abundance does include wealth. The reason why I don't put that first is because oftentimes we think about abundance, we think about money. And it's more than that. And actually, I have clients that have come to me and they actually, they have money, but they are miserable. And they're miserable because they were limiting, what does abundance fully mean? To limit abundance to any one of these things on this list. And there's a huge list. This is just an example. If you just pick one of these things, your life would not really feel abundant. If you just looked at love and you didn't grow and you weren't really positive, you didn't see your potential, you would not be living in your full abundant life. If you looked at abundance and you only thought about the wealth that it provided and you didn't do your self-care and you were not achieving anything, you wouldn't feel like you're on purpose. So that would not feel abundant either. And the reason I list just a few of these things is because I want to reinforce what is always available to you. Abundance is in the form of love, wealth, taking care of yourself is abundant. When you are able to have your body working like you want it to, when it feels right, when you feel like you look good for yourself, and you just know that, you are taking care of your temple, that's a form of love. When you're able to grow, no matter what situation, you're able to grow from it. You're able to strive in it. That's a form of love. That's a form of abundance. When you're looking at your friendships, the community that you're in, that you're never alone, and you have quality people in your life and having quality experiences as a result of being around people, that's abundant. When you have positivity in your life, as opposed to negativity, when you can walk out your door, you can be in the sacred space of your household and you feel positive, you feel on fire, that is abundant. And when you see that you are full of potential, sometimes we don't always see everything that we want right in front of us or desire. But when you're not limited because you know that there's more to life and that it's available to you, that's also abundant. And when you have a sense of achievement in your life, these things are all abundant because you are finding out what you're capable of. You might have thought you were not even able to achieve that, but then you rose to the occasion and you shocked yourself. That's abundant. Because if you can do that, that means you can do other things. And that is a great place to be. And so let me see here. Someone was really working with me here. Oh, let me just see if I am surprised that this is not necessarily allowing me to do this. Okay. So that is what it is. These are just some of the things. When you talk about abundance and when I'm talking about abundance, I want to be mindful. I want to be very mindful that even in this small list, I am not limiting what's possible. All right. And like when I say friendships, that's also relationships. That can be your friends. It can be your family. It can be your significant other. It can be your children, your nieces, your nephews. I'm not trying to limit this. And I want to do it justice. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want you to look around and find the abundance that is around you. Okay, I don't want you to look over anything that is truly a gift in your life. Because when you look and you can see the gifts for what they are, then it opens up your eyes to see the rest of the rainbow or the rest of the spectrum of what abundance provides. The other thing is abundance is overflow. When I say don't let this limited list fool you. Abundance is when there is more than enough, okay? So that you're handled and then there's more for others. That, you have your amazing talents and your gifts and your experiences that you can offer to others. A lot of my clients, they are looking to live their soul purpose, and they're looking to make sure that as they're giving in the world, that they're being mindful of it, that they're not, leaking out, they're not self-sacrificial, they're not martyrs, as they want to do they want to make a big impact in the world. They want to make a difference. They want to be a blessing. And they want to be mindful of what that looks like for them, because at some point in time, it wouldn't make sense if all you're doing is giving, don't know how to receive. You're getting, you're just tired, overextended, all of these things. It doesn't make sense. And it's also not a requirement. So when you're able to lean in abundance, like for real, you understand that there's overflow, and then you can choose how you share in that regard. Okay. And there's prosperity in all the way around. You have a level of affluence. It doesn't stop with you. Other people are impacted. It's plentiful, and there's wealth along with it. And the wonderful thing about abundance is you don't want to self-sabotage yourself in the spirit of abundance. Sometimes if you experience abundance, you might think, okay, well, I have the money, so I'm going to buy. And with abundance, there is a sense of responsibility. There's a sense of knowing how to handle it with grace and with ease. There's a sense of, when you have abundance, you're not putting it into a bucket with a hole in it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, that when you have overflow, you might feel bad about it. You might feel guilty. So you want to get rid of it. You want to share it with everyone because you want to be liked. And so that's not what the spirit behind the abundance is, but there is a responsibility around it. And sometimes we don't get all the abundance that is available to us because we're not quite ready to do what the responsibility is that's associated with it. I hope that makes sense. So I always say this: abundance is your birthright. Upon arrival, abundance is your birthright. It is available to you. Nothing, when we get here, nothing stands in the way of ourselves and the abundance that we deserve. And yet stuff happens. Stuff happens. We get conditioned. Bad things happen. Good things happen. Just a variety of texture, for lack of a better word right now, of life shows up for us. And sometimes based on the situation and the circumstance, we forget. We forget that abundance is our birthright. And I'm not saying this from a perspective of feeling entitled to it. I'm saying this from a perspective of having a knowing around it. Knowing that you're not on this earth to be without, to be full of lack, to be full of scarcity, to stand in the assurances that that's not why you were designed. Abundance is your birthright. So this world truly is full of abundance. And even if it doesn't feel like it, it's very real. And living your soul purpose and being of the utmost service is an opening to being able to tap into that, opening to a new world, to those of us that are givers and that we're willing to give our gifts to those who need it the most. And I think that there's a level of conditioning that we have. And we assume that, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get organized here since in my mouth. So we assume that, based on your gifts, I want to give to the homeless. I'm saying give to the homeless. I'm not saying not to do that. But the homeless are not the only people that need support. There are people that you would look at and you would think that everything is wrapped up with a bow on it. They seem to have it all figured out. And I'm saying this because when we have that kind of perception of others, that everything's all perfect, all figured out, then everybody misses the point. Because when we're able to use this as a reason to not serve humanity, regardless of where we fit in humanity, and we don't have the understanding that you have this gift goes across the suits, it goes across economic lines, that you can really be a blessing no matter what room you're in, then we miss it. Because there are people that are lacking in things that would be, they have issues around. Maybe it might be relationship. You might be amazing at relationships. Like you were in that line for a long time. Everybody was waiting to be in line. You were like, wait, let me get some more. Because your life is so abundant when it comes to the relationships. And while they might have a lot of money, they might have a powerful career, they might have a powerful business. But when it comes to relationships, they feel empty inside. They feel hollow. They feel alone. And it's like, so you have all this amazing abundance in relationships. You know it. You've kept them. You're tried and true. You're authentic. And your perception of someone that you perceive has it together, they don't have, their relationships are falling apart. Not good relations with their children, their husbands, or their parents. There's so many things that they could totally be blessed by you, and they'd be willing to pay you. They feel the hurt and pain of not having that. But with us being so guided by conditioning, by, you can tell a book by its cover, I'm not sure that's true. You can tell a person based on the soul. You can tell that. But telling a book by its cover, we can be off a lot. We lose a lot. If we're just looking at the suit and not looking at the soul, we can miss the mark. From an inside perspective for ourselves, we can miss the mark. We can not understand how much we are worth, how much value we bring to every situation. Or we can judge people and you just judged yourself because you lost out on something pretty amazing. And so I just want us to be mindful and understand that the world is full of abundance. When you're living in your purpose and you're being of the utmost service, a whole nother world opens up to you. And abundance is everywhere in the universe. And it can also appear in your life if you let it. There are certain things that we automatically, as far as society is concerned, and we're like, yeah, Oh, they have that house, they have those cars. Well, oh, they got it going on. That's abundance. Well, okay, that's one version of it, but abundance is so much grander than that. And we might actually be the kind of person that are givers. My clients are phenomenal, they're brilliant, and they certainly are givers, like undisputably. And they give and they give and they give and they give and they give. And one of the challenges that I've had to grow from, this was an area of growth for me, as well as some of my clients, is that we didn't know how to receive. We're like, no, we got that. We're good. We just didn't know how to receive. And we totally didn't know how to receive gracefully. And, sometimes not even knowing how to be vulnerable enough to receive. And so when you don't know how to receive, or you're such a huge giver that you don't have a receiving bone in your body, you're not tapping into all that's abundant. Yes, you can totally be a representation of abundance in other people's lives, but abundance is not one directional. Abundance is everywhere. And it can appear everywhere in your life, everywhere in your business, in your career. And that is if you let it. And unbeknownst to some of us, abundance is waiting, just waiting for us to be willing to open the door so it can come into our lives. Just waiting. And we're like, I don't know why I'm struggling. I don't know why I'm struggling. I mean, you're like looking up here, wondering why you're struggling, when in essence, you're not able to allow yourself to receive. And that's a big thing, because in order to live your soul purpose in everything that you do and claim this abundance that comes with it, there's actually work that you got to do. Abundance is a muscle. You got to lift the weights. You got to lift the weights, because we can sabotage ourselves if we're not recognizing that it's everywhere and that we need to do something to allow it to open up and to flow more in our lives and in our business. So I want to talk about the 7 key traits of an abundant mindset. So the mind is just like a muscle. Look, I was talking about abundance. Well, the mind is a muscle as well. And the more you exercise it, the stronger it gets and the more it can expand. So this is with Aduwu, if I'm pronouncing correctly, is Wealth for All, Living a Life of Success at the Edge of Your Ability. It's a good book. So I just want you to know that your mind, abundance, soul purpose, this is like a journey that you have to play an active role in. You have to play an active role in strengthening your mindset. You have to play an active role with being able to receive abundance. You have to play an active role when it comes to really living your soul purpose, truly and amazingly, and expanding in that. And I think that we oftentimes don't embrace that there is work alongside it. Now, it's the best work you can do. We are meant to work and to be productive, and it's the best work. It's the best journey to experience, but it's not for the lack of that you need to do some work. So when we're talking about abundant mindset, the number one thing is when you are, and it's not in any particular order, but it is important. Abundant mindset thinks big, okay? Abundant mindset has visions, has goals, has aspirations, and that's what abundance looks like, because it's not limited by anything that you see. If you can think about it, then you can achieve it. Okay. And it's so funny because that's said so many times, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm not trying to just say that. I'm saying that it is really true. I can give you so many examples from my clients, but just example for me, 2 silly examples. They're very silly. One time when this is like over 10 years ago, and I wanted to go to Thailand. I heard about it. I heard some people talking about it, and I was like, that sounds like a really cool place. It was so far away, sounded so cool. And when they talked about it, then it gave it's just like something inside of me is like, that's the place that I would love to go. And at the time I was single. And so I was thinking going to Thailand, I want to go to the beach. I want to explore that and just experience that. And that was my vision. And I always wanted to do that. So let me just tell you when I actually went to Thailand. Okay, which was like I said, the idea was 10 years ago. I'm not saying this to discourage you, but I am saying thinking big. As I talk with my clients, and my clients, they have big visions. They really want to make a huge impact in the world, truly, sincerely connected to that vision. And, with those big visions comes time and work. And it's an amazing journey, but you got to do the work. And And so I said, it's not like you're building like a toothpick house, like, the little doll toothpick house, from the toothpicks, from the popsicles, we just put them together and we play when we're younger around that. I don't know if you did, but I'm just saying an example. And you're building a bridge, you're building a bridge. And to build a bridge, it takes a long time. It takes making sure your foundation is right, making sure it's solid, making sure that it has staying power. I mean, if we look at the Golden Gate Bridge, this thing has been around for generations, okay? And there's been a lot that goes with that story, the Golden Gate Bridge in California. So I just want you to be mindful that now, it doesn't mean that, your blessings don't come until the bridge is over. It does mean that think big for yourself. Abundance is thinking big, because it will come to pass. And then when it finally comes to pass, it might be bigger than what you even imagined. When I eventually went to Thailand, I not only was there with myself, I was there with my daughter and husband and my husband's parents. And, I got to see my daughter feed a baby elephant. What I had imagined 10 years ago when I finally got there, it was way bigger than I thought. And when you think big and abundance is able to meet you with what you're envisioning for yourself, then it actually is a very humbling experience. Because when you're thinking big, it doesn't mean that you see it at all. As a matter of fact, you absolutely might not see it at all, ever saw it, just heard about it, or just had something placed in your heart. So that's important. Got to think big, okay? The other one, the number 2 is recognizing that the world has plenty to offer you. That's an abundance thought process. Because if you're thinking that, oh, well, they don't want to be with me, what kind of, who's going to, what clients will pay me, who's going to see the value, what I have to offer? Who's going to, I'm not going to ever be in a position to receive this or receive that, or I'll never make it this way. Like if you're like in the I'll never, or this is impossible, or what's the thing that I've heard? Realistically. Realistically. Well, realistically, realistically is a dream killer because that's not real. Realistically is all based on someone's perception. Oftentimes it has limits on it. So recognizing that the world has plenty to offer you. So that gives you the opportunity, the freedom to think and to breathe and to understand that, yes, it is possible. You might have to work at it. You might have to do something, but it's totally available and it's totally possible. If you don't think like this, then your world becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, okay? The other thing is that, that you're able to rejoice for others' success and find pleasure in sharing with others, okay? And yes, I do get Amy, and sometimes, that's for the birds because, there was a time where we've all experienced, I believe, if you're older than 15, and I don't think you had to get that old to have this experience, where you were overjoyed for yourself and you wanted to share it with someone or a group of people. And they might have been like wanting to, they might have hated on you, tried to shut you down, tried to rain on your parade. And, that can create a certain level of influence and hurt and pain that actually diminishes you from being able to step into what's abundant. And, I definitely used to think that success equated to being alone. So can you imagine somebody walking through their lives thinking that success meant that you were alone? And that had nothing, because I was thinking I couldn't rejoice. I had to dim my light to make sure everybody was okay. And that's why I take a stand for y'all. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Because you should be able to rejoice in that success of others, as well as be able to share your success. And while it might take something for you to do, you might have to, make sure that you have people that share the same kind of values, have people that have a level of security and self-worth that they can be able to play with you in that space of abundance. Everybody is not ready to play in a space of abundance. And so that's something you want to be mindful of. I want to recognize that when you're younger, you might not have control over your environment. You might not have control over your space. But I'm talking to you now, right now, today. Okay? And today is a day that you can choose to make sure that you rejoice others and you find pleasure in sharing with others what it looks like when you're able to have some wins and success in your life. All right? Because at the end of the day, if you can't enjoy and rejoice in things that are abundant, then do you think you're going to really get a lot more abundance? Anything you get, you're still blocking what's possible as a result. Hey, Claire, it's good to see you. Also, embracing abundant mindset allows you to embrace change as an opportunity and not to be afraid to take risk. So many times, people are so afraid to take risks. It's like, what if? What if? And it's worried about this and worried about the things that have not come to pass, right? And you can't be abundant if you're not willing to do the things that you haven't done before to get things that you always wanted to do. You need to be able to embrace change, live outside of your comfort zone. Because when you live outside of your comfort zone, then you are open and you make yourself available to experiencing more abundance. And when I say that, I'm not saying being reckless. Let me be clear. I'm not saying be reckless. I'm saying when you need to do the work to be able to embrace change, knowing what does it look like? Is this the right change? And being able to step in that. There are so many of us that are not able to get outside of our comfort zone. Now, we know this zone is painful. It hurts. We are not prosperous. We're not abundant. We're taking on people's problems. We're sinking. We're stressed out. But at least it's our comfort zone. And that is not an abundant mindset. It doesn't get you where you deserve to be. So it does require you to do something to change the results that you want for your life and to get the results. Abundance also proactively seeks for solutions and plans for the future. All right. So this is not saying that, I'm not selling you a dream. I'm not saying that life won't have its curveballs. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there might be things that show up that it totally blindsides you. It takes you for a loop. That is part of life. However, when you understand that, yes, you have to give yourself grace for being human and being hurt and being downtrodden and being sad. And then look at, what's the solution? Because you were never, with anything that was thrown your way, there was never to be an expectation that that's your permanent address. Never was the expectation. Look to know, if you have an abundant mindset and you carry that, then you already know, okay, this is not cool. I don't like this. And what is out there? Abundance is my birthright. What's the solution? How can I bring solution to this? Because this is not the permanent. This can't be what the end of the book looks like. So I'm going to seek to find what I need to do in order to create solution in my life, in my situation, in my business, in my career. And you plan for the future. The other thing is that you are able to be proactive based on the curveballs, okay? So it doesn't matter what it is. It is a level of mindset. It's a level of traits that are essential for you to be able to experience life in the best way possible. As long as you have breath, there are ways to experience life so that it serves you ultimately. Another thing is you never stop learning. When I talked about what is abundance, and these are like the 7 or few things that I had there, well, you might not have known that self-care equates to abundance. You might not have even equated the two. You might have been like, well, yeah, I like my bank account's great. My friends are all right, but I'm like overweight. I'm on the brink of diabetes or on the brink of high blood pressure, and you're not really giving homage to that part of abundance. These are the things that we need to really, be open to learning, because you don't know what you don't know. And you'll never know unless you're open to learning. When you're open to learning and you continue to do that, then you are able to fully tap in continuously what abundance looks like. And the other thing is, abundance is continually investing in oneself, investing in the form of time, in the form of resources, in the form of anything. You want to know that you are the best investment in your life. Even when you have people around you that you totally care about, your mom or parent or any of that nature, yes, it's amazing to invest in the next generation. But can you imagine if you invested in yourself and you can be a model for the next generation, and you also have overflow to take care of them as well? You can be a model of what it looks like. Okay, this is what I got from my family. This is what I got from society. And yet there's some things that I need to do to up-level my life. And I'm willing to take that full responsibility. And it might not be homegrown. This part of my life might not be homegrown. I might need to invest something in myself to get to that next level. And as you do that, everybody gets to win. You are developing yourself. Mommy is happier. Oh, like people want to work with you again because you're not bitter from things. I mean, things can change for you. You'll attract that amazing, significant other because you're able to level up because that was available to you. You might not have known how to get there, but you were willing to invest in yourself. And as a result of you always increasing and being the best version of yourself, whether it be in life, love, relationship, business, doesn't matter, then others will benefit from that, okay? So that's part of abundance. And life in abundance comes only through great love. Be open to that, totally open to that. So we're gonna talk about life of abundance versus life of scarcity. It's really interesting. And I wanna pause on this a second because, and I want you to just be aware of this. This week has been quite amazing. Like I knew I was going to be sharing this with you. Technology's been flipping out. I'm here feeling like I'm going to choke. So I'm hoping that I'm going to go through this because I'm like, I must be talking about something that we need to talk about because this is challenging. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in your life that, you're on the brink of really being a blessing to others, or you have this goal and you're so close to it and things just things fall off or fall apart a little bit, or you have a message that's so powerful. And I'm saying this for all of you, that you might actually have a message that's very powerful. And yet it seems like every time you're about to open your mouth, something happens. And I just want to encourage you to not stop, to be committed to your assignment, be committed to your purpose. And, eventually it does die out and it goes away. But I just want you to understand that opposition does not mean turn back. Okay. Oftentimes I found that opposition allows me to strengthen my muscle. Opposition allows me to lean in and be confirmed and convicted around what I'm looking to accomplish in the spirit of impacting others' lives in a positive way. And so I just want to, I'm like, okay, well, this is just a lesson in itself. So let's talk about it. Okay. So life of abundance versus life of scarcity. Okay. So when we're looking at, I think I missed something. Okay, there we go. Abundance versus scarcity. As you see, abundance, it's green, it's thriving. I mean, that tree looks beautiful. I feel like I could just sit underneath it and read a book, And then you have this life of scarcity, which is like, can I get some water, It's desolate. It's like you don't want to be there. It looks like scary even, and that's what it can feel like when you're in a life of scarcity. It can feel like there's no green around. It could feel like, empty, cold and barren. That's the kind of life that can be lonely. And that's why we're talking about this, because you don't deserve that. You only deserve an abundant life. All right. And so let's just talk about this. Let me give you an example of artists. I coach a lot of cultural creatives, folks that are very creative and that are really looking to take their sole purpose and their talents and their gifts and their abilities to the next level in the spirit of serving humanity. So what can happen? First off, okay, I'm not talented. That's the fear. This is the scarcity. This is what the scarcity loop looks like. The fear comes in. I'm not talented. Yeah, I heard it, but you don't believe it. Like you might have heard people giving you props for what you're able to do, and they know they can't do it, and they have no problem with acknowledging what you could do. But you're not actually, it's not sinking inside. It's not resonating with you because the fear could keep you stuck. I mean, it really paints a picture of, anyone can do this. What makes this so special for me? The other thing is anxiety. Everyone's better than me. I'll never be good enough. Okay. So let's just say, you're talented, but it still is scaring you like so much to even think about making yourself exposed to judgment or being exposed to people, period. It creates such a level of anxiety. You might be judging yourself. You might be telling yourself you're not good enough. Someone might have told you that a long time ago. And this is just running in your head, the anxiety that builds up. So it keeps you hidden, keeps you hiding. It keeps you like the best kept secret. I'm telling you, you're in this loop and nobody's winning. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's winning from you being fearful in an anxiety. with you having poor choices around, well, you might see someone that needs help, but because you don't feel like you're good enough, you're too scared, then they're like left to fend for themselves when it would have been easy for you to do. Or you're not, it creates an opportunity of like scarcity is like not collaboration. A lot of times people talk about, well, women, when we say when women come together and do something very powerful, we get a lot of credit. And I don't know why, because there are like catty women that cut each other down. And unfortunately, because there's a population, it doesn't matter. I'm not limiting it to women, by the way. I'm limited to, it can span the gamut. Okay. Different areas of humanity can have folks that in essence are not there to support each other, that they're really there to bring each other down. And that's kind of what Amy was talking about, having those people make choices that are actually taking away from humanity, not supporting love, not supporting abundance. It's just so scarce that it's like, you can't win because if you win, that's taking it away from me. And then you make poor choices based on that. That's a real thing. I'm not trying to be Pollyanna. I'm trying to really talk about both sides because that is very relevant. And then what happens is there's negative outcomes. It's like the thing that was your gift, the thing that you really enjoyed. You have anxiety around it. You feel like you're beaten up as a result of it. And, you want to just retreat and go somewhere. You don't want to have to deal with it because that was a precious gift. That was a precious talent. And it's like after a while of not being honored and being steeped in fear and having that anxiety and then having to deal with, the negative things in life, you just want to forget about it. And your creativity diminishes and you shrink and you can get depressed and you can be isolated. You can isolate yourself. And all of these things happen when you're in a scarcity loop. Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because nobody wins. It's real and nobody wins. So I want to share with you what an abundance loop looks like, okay? Abundance loop is when you are thankful for every single thing. I mean, I'm not trying to sound crazy, but I am saying that this is what an abundance loop looks like. Like, yeah, I was thrown a third curveball. Thank you. Because guess what? I'm going to put a solution in this situation. I'm going to learn from it. I am thankful for the opportunity to grow. Because whatever happened, I'm able to now support someone else. This story is juicy. These skills are awesome, and I understand that, I have to be able to look at every area of my life, everything that I touch, everything that touches me, and find gratitude in it. Because when I do that, then there's more gratitude to be seen and experienced. My clients, a lot of them do journaling. They look at what is going right in their life. And there's some things, I'm not saying everybody has everything going right at the same time, but when you can ground yourself in what is going right, when you can appreciate that spouse, when you can appreciate that the children did something really cool, your business might be like on a lull, but look at the other things that are going right and then create a level of energy around that so that you can transfer that into making sure that you bring the right energy to your business, So being thankful and being able to express things. Being able to express to people, thank you for that. I see you. I appreciate you. Be a leader in your abundance loop, all right? Even if there's a disagreement, when you're able to understand from the other person's perspective, then you can create a different kind of solution to get on the other side of that. And I will tell you, I'm not saying that this is steeped in perfection because that's not what life looks like. Life is not perfect, nor should it be. But it is an opportunity to grow in all things. The other thing about abundance is having peace of mind, feel good about what, when we're talking about this artist, having peace of mind, whatever you make, enjoy it. Whatever you see people make, enjoy it. That gives you peace of mind. I don't know if you've ever had an experience where, you're just so worried about the future, worried about your current situation, worried. What are you inviting? You're inviting more worry. You're inviting more lack. You're inviting more scarcity. If you're like, okay, I've done all that I can do, I'm going to be at peace with it. And the next day I'm going to do my part in this. I'll do the work, and you don't give up. And you just have the peace that you have to surrender to the way that life unfolds. But you want to be active participant in a solution around that, whatever that may be to your best of your ability. So you get to enjoy life. everything, because you have a level of peace of mind and you're able to leverage this with grace and ease. You know, there's some of the things that in the online course, Living Your Soul Purpose in Business and in Life, we will go through what peace of mind looks like when you are leveraging your intuition. For those of you that know that we're going to have Bali coming up in September 1st to the 9th, that's where we're going to totally lean into what it is to lean into your intuition, your divine communication that is always available to you, and what it looks like and what it feels like. And being in Bali is so beautiful, you'll be able to have that time away. But intuition is very key when you're talking about living your soul purpose in business and in life. Being able to stay connected, being the best version of yourself. These are the kinds of things that also contribute to peace of mind. Also making wise choices. You know, being able to share your ideas with others and being open to learning new approaches to art. You know, if we're talking about that artist, this is how an artist can like have their swagger in abundance, you know, that you're not judging yourself. You're able to be present to the creation that you have, that you're able to see the value in it and see the difference that it makes in other people's lives, and you show up differently. You know that if you're not showing up in your artistry, if you're not showing up in how you love easily, then other people are going to suffer. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're willing to share. And you can create those positive outcomes. You know, you enjoy sharing your art, you enjoy making your art, you enjoy the art that other people make, and you're making room to receive. That's also part of the abundance loop. When you have gratitude, peace of mind, you make wise choices, you have positive outcomes, these all lend to a beautiful life and an abundant life. And especially when you're living your soul purpose, all of this is available to you. I'm not saying this because I read it in a book. I'm saying this because I live it. I'm saying this because the book that I have, that's a best-selling book, the only one out of 3, is the one that's talking about soul to soul, how to identify your soul purpose and monetize it. And so there is a process, there is a system, there is a formula that this really works. But sometimes we got to step back and say, well, what is this? What do you speak of, this living your soul purpose in business and in life? And these are just examples of the benefits of doing that. So let's talk about how I build a life of abundance for myself and my loved ones, okay? Real brief, because I have alluded to this and mentioned this before. I'm not going to stay very long on this, but I just want to share with you that, you know, being on a world tour, really answering the call, you know, when I talk about this world tour, the things that I'm talking about, this message resonates all over the world because it's a humanity conversation. And so living rich and spreading wealth is about accepting all of who you are. Loving your quirkiness, your idiosyncrasies, you know, your gifts, your talents, and accepting all of it. And then supporting and contributing it to humanity in the spirit of abundance. So as you are out there sharing your gifts with others, you're able to get out of your way to receive the abundance that life provides and business provides, all right? And so I've shared this all over the world, and it is something that is tried and true. It crosses cultures, it crosses the suits, it crosses the genders, it crosses all of those things. And as a result of living my soul purpose, I have at least 9 revenue streams in my business, okay? And when I say revenue streams, I don't mean hobbies or hustles. I mean solid revenue streams. I have a team that is based around the world. And what I love about that is because how life is this world is abundant. You know, I have people from the United States, from Italy, from Philippines, it's India, and that's an abundance that Brazil, there's abundance that comes with that, okay? To be able to work on solutions to support people in the best way that we know how, and to see how it touches across is not just a United States thing. It's not just a New Zealand thing. This, you know, when you live your soul purpose, you have an opportunity to choose powerfully as to how you want to contribute and play in the world. If you want to just do it for your community, fine. If you want to do it for your state, fine. If you want to do it for the US, fine. If you want to go across borders and across countries, fine. That's what it allows you to do. And I'm saying that living your soul purpose, you know, even through tragedy, you know, I had emergency surgery, which is, as an entrepreneur, that's like the worst thing you could have. One of the worst things. And that's not cool. But even in spite of that, I was able to still make 6 figures from my bedroom. Even the emergency surgery, I was able to still have a profitable business. And then bed rest while I was pregnant. I still made 6 figures in the time that I was pregnant. And I had my little one at 43 years old, okay? So, you know, your soul purpose will serve you as you serve others. It has a place for you and has a space for you. So you're not going to be left out. Okay. And, my business has had six figures in my business for over 17 years. So it's at least six figures. Sometimes it's been more, sometimes it's been six figures. It's six figures and up. All right. So what I am saying is that living your soul purpose, you're not missing out. You're not losing out because of the fact that you are serving the world in your divine assignment, that you are living the life that you were designed specifically to live. And that when you choose to embrace it, there is a lot available for you and to you. And this is in Panama's, J.W. Marion Panama's Mother's Day. Being with family, being able to serve the people that you can serve people, and you don't have to sacrifice what you value. Living your soul purpose in business and in life doesn't mean that it's at the detriment of yourself, your family. That's not what it means. It means that in an abundant world, you can get clear as to what is it that taking care of, like, what does your life need to look like for you to be taken care of? It's like soul purpose, right? So it's like having a phenomenal employer, okay? A phenomenal employer, okay? Because I don't have a boss, but I do have a boss. God is my boss. I say, God, my nickname is the boss of all bosses. So but let's take it down to, let's just say you have a great employer and you are a great employee. I mean, as a result of you showing up every day, the customers are happy, they're getting taken care of, you're bringing in money for the company. And what does that smart employer do? The smart employer wants to make sure that you're fine, that you're not worried about anything. Hey, can I get you anything? Because you're doing your thing. You're like rocking it out. You're keeping the customers happy. You're being a contribution. You're open to receiving. Companies benefiting from that. Everything's going great. That employer, the smart employer, wants to make sure that, you're paid appropriately. You're not worried about how you're going to eat. You're not worried about how your family's going to be. You're not worried about, what is, tomorrow. Like, you're just not worried about those things. So you can stay focused on doing what you're designed to do. So if a great employer, which they do exist, they still exist in places, if a great employer can do that, then why would you not expect that the boss of all bosses could do the very same thing, if not even more? So you don't have to sacrifice the things that you hold near and dear to yourself in order to live your soul purpose. And it is a divine walk. It is a beautiful walk, and it's a humbling walk. And so this was actually we went to Jamaica. Some amazing clients of mine went to Jamaica last year. And that's where we focused on we're all used to doing, right? We're all used to doing. And in that season, the message that I received was that I had to really remind amazing folks how doing is great, but if you miss the being, who you be in your doing, you miss the mark. And so this was like near the end of our retreat in Jamaica, where we had focused and I had supported my clients in understanding who they be, the highest version of themselves, and how you make choices from there. When you're the highest version of yourself, you do not make the same choices when you're the, decrepit, tired, stressed out version of yourself. It just doesn't work that way. So when you're looking at, we all know whose we are, but when you're the highest version of your being connected to whose you are, and living your soul purpose through there, it's an overflow. It is an overflow. And it's an overflow that does not get tapped. So how, you might ask? I live in my soul purpose. How do I do that? You will not go hungry, when you live in your purpose. I mean, things can be kind of tight, can get crazy, because you have to do the work to really open up and receive what all this looks like. But when you are living in your soul purpose, it creates abundance. And you will be provided. Anything you need will be provided. And when you know what you're destined to do, and you're doing what you're destined to do, and you feel that connection to your source of inspiration and connection to people, and you're helping people by living your purpose, this is an equation for flat out success. Period. End of statement. That's what it does. That's what it provides you. And so I want you to be aware of what's available to you. This isn't a pipe dream. This is very real. And what I get the benefit of doing is I get to see a lot of people that I'm fortunate enough to coach and support, when they're willing to answer their call, they're willing to answer their soul purpose. And they're willing to do the work to make room, to be more of a receiver, to learn how to be fiscally responsible around their business, to learn what it looks like to be the highest version of themselves as they give from that perspective. To go through that journey, it is a beautiful journey. And it's not for the lack of falling down and getting up. We all fall down And the biggest thing is being able to bounce back quicker, sooner, faster. Don't make that fall down your permanent address. And these are the things that are available to you when you do this, okay? So I will say, because I would be totally remiss if I did not say this, because this was real. God is in everything. And you got to understand that. And joy will always be in your soul because God equals love, okay? So when you're living your soul purpose, you got the boss of all bosses, making sure that you are given everything you need to do to make sure that as you're serving in this world and you're impacting lives positively, that you're handled. So you need to know what that looks like to tap into divine love, and your abundance will be overflowing materially and spiritually. And quite frankly, I'm not talking about religiously. I'm not talking about all the judgment and also that. And I am saying religion serves a purpose, because there are ways that we can know how to navigate life. There are rules and there's things that are set up, and there are different religions, and they're all kind of, there's some separation in religions. So I'm not really talking about that part of the separations of religions. I'm talking about the spirit. I'm talking about your spirituality. I'm talking about your healthy connection to your creator, period. All right. And so I'm not defining what God is for you. I'm not really interested in that. I am saying that you're not alone. You were created. And just like if you're a parent and you brought someone in this world, and like you want the best for them. You want to make sure that you have everything that they need, that they're provided. And so we're just humans. Like, we do the best we can. But when you're talking about working for the boss of all bosses, and you stay connected and you're able to tap into things to get the appropriate direction, when you're able to understand what your part is in showing up for what's available for you as you serve the world, when you're able to say, oh, okay. Oh, the reason why I didn't make any money is because I didn't think anybody had any. Oh, okay. My bad. When I was judging what was in people's pockets, oh, my bad. Or when I just didn't feel like I was worthy enough to charge that price, my bad. I mean, there are things that we can do as far as our part, play our part. And when you do that, you open up the channels to receive more. And I'm not trying to make this the small print, y'all. I'm trying to make this the big, bold print. Doesn't mean that life is perfect. Doesn't mean that you won't fall down. Doesn't mean that you will not be slighted. It doesn't mean any of that. It means take your same life and take all the trials and tribulations, and now you have tools to navigate the same exact situations with a level of grace and ease, with a level of bounce back that's more powerful than ever before. You'll feel on purpose and on fire with your soul purpose and making a difference in other people's lives. You'll understand that you don't make it about yourself. The more that you are taking a stand for others, where you have the healthy exchange, then you will be able to prosper. And the more that you understand that abundance is so multidimensional, it's crazy, that you actually can live a lifetime of being able to strengthen your muscle to the point where abundance is not it's not overwhelming. You don't self-sabotage. Self-sabotage example is having a business and doing really well. Like, you had a great month, and then because you didn't know how to handle abundance, the next months were awful because you weren't used to it. So it kind of broke some systems and things of that nature, and you didn't know what you need to do to rebound and be able to accept it with grace and ease. Say, oh yeah, I really appreciate this, and I look forward to the next level, and this is what I'm putting in place, so I'm strengthening my muscle to receive more and more and more. It's okay. It's okay to receive. Because if you're anything like my clients, they're such huge givers. It's like pent up demand as far as receiving. There's so much waiting to be poured in. And it's a process, it's a process. So just want to make sure that we're clear on that. So you can discover your soul purpose and learn what it looks like to stand in it and monetize it. And abundance will come your way when you do that, when you discover what your soul purpose is and you learn what it looks like to navigate. What is this life that you speak of, living your soul purpose? What does that mean? We get to explore exactly what that means. So there's no guessing game tied to that any longer. And so what I want to say or share with you is why it's important in bringing your abundance to your workplace and your business. And what does it even matter? It matters. It's essential. It's so essential. It's so it matters today, right now. When you leave out the house, or even when you're in the house, when it comes to relationships in your own household, or even if you live by yourself, what are you saying to yourself? What does that conversation look like? Is it steeped in abundance or is it steeped in scarcity? And what's happening in the households today? Are we looking for ways to improve communication improve collaboration, improve and lean into love. And love actually is an action word. To lean into love and to look at what it looks like for the household to win. And what does it look like when we leave the household and we go into our respective clients' places or we go into our workplaces? What does a workplace look like that's steeped in scarcity? It is stressful. It is decrepit. It is like you feel like there's cement on your legs when you wake up in the morning. You do not want to go. But when you have an environment that is filled of abundance, then you love going to work. You can't wait to see Susan, Amy, Paula, Lucretia. Like, you love it because you know that it's bigger than you. Y'all are taking on some amazing things. There's collaboration. There's love. There's time for you to take care of yourself. You get to go home happy with your family. I mean, there's so many things that involves having that loving spirit, having that abundance in all that you do. There's a high price to being involved in anything that is steeped in scarcity. We are paying a lot from a society perspective, from our own soul conditioning perspective. It's a high price to pay. It's a high price to pay to have to recover from being in experiences that were steeped in scarcity, and had nothing to do with love. Had to do with, taking advantage of, decimating. That's expensive. Because it doesn't stop in that situation. We're all connected. But if we look to create abundance and we look to create more love and we take a stand for each other to take care of ourselves, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, doesn't matter, then we all get to develop and be brighter and better for not only ourselves, but for the next generation or for anyone you come in contact with. So it really matters because you really matter. You really matter. You absolutely matter. And there's no benefit when you lose, because we all lose. When you lose, we all lose. When you're not able to live in your soul purpose, when you're not able to explore what that looks like in a safe environment for yourself, when you're not able to look at, well, how do I create a business, an enterprise based on doing the things that come easy to me? And yes, I might have to learn how to be the CEO of my gifts, I might have to do some things to do that. But oh my gosh, it's so worth it. Talk about a legacy. Bam, It's amazing. So bringing abundance into all that you do is important not only for you, but it's important for everyone that's around you. It's important to me because at the end of the day, you matter. Abundance is your birthright. And how do you come on this earth and not experience that to the highest? That don't be comfortable with one aspect of abundance because it's the birthright. That means the whole thing is available to you. But it also means you have to do some work to get that. So when we're talking about abundance versus scarcity, you get to choose. You get to choose. Honestly, you get to choose. No one has power over what abundance looks like for you. Okay? No one, don't ever think that anybody has power over that. Now, there can be circumstances and situations and conditions that can make it a little harder, a little bit more challenging. But just imagine whatever that circumstance, whatever that challenge is, and you overcome that and you move up from there, bam, take that, okay? Why? Because you're worth it. And everybody around you is worth it, okay? We talked about the 7 key traits of an abundant mindset, life of abundance versus life of scarcity. I shared with you how I built abundance for myself and my loved ones. I didn't even go deep on that. As a result of the journey that I have, my family, my family, like my nucleus, like my mom, my sisters. I have sisters that are like African-American woman has my sister has at least 2 patents. They have abundant lives. People didn't get me initially. Okay. I work for corporate America. I did that line of order, that hierarchy, this is what you do. You go to school, you get a job, get a man. I did all that stuff, right? It didn't work out for me in that way. Now, what I do appreciate is the journey. I appreciate what I learned along the way. And I really appreciate the courage to take a stand for exploring even more. Because in my exploring even more, I'm able to touch and experience so much more as far as what I'm capable of doing in the world and how I truly am able to make a difference in the world. And I want that for you. But yeah, I really wouldn't feel comfortable, honestly, looking at you today and having scarcity in my family. I wouldn't do that. I've seen my family, they have like their own business, they're thriving. My personal family, we are good. I mean, I know what it's like to have, monetary gains and things of that nature, but honestly, it's not about that when it comes to your household. It's about, yes, you want to make sure things are handled, but it is about the love in your house. It's about how you come together to make things work. How do you allow each other to grow? And that's all abundance. So I'm sharing this with you because I'm not saying this because I read it in a book. And I'm not saying this because everything's been easy and just so perfectly aligned and, the bow on it. I'm saying this because in spite of the ups and the downs, in spite of the curveballs, that these are things that still remain and they get better and better and better. So, and I also talked about why bringing abundance is important in your workplace and also in your business and why it really matters. So I want to thank you today. I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to serving you. Take care and bye for now.